pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, would you do a roll call for us,
All right,
please?
roll call. John Barry is excused. David Hayward.
Here.
Leanna Hahn.
Here.
Philip Reed here. Rob Namowitz is excused. Stephen Heyer.
Here.
Matt Blau is excused. John Elke.
Here.
All right, so we have a quorum.
Very good. Thank you, sir. First item on our agenda is approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
I motion to approve it.
Second.
Is there any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Motion carries. The agenda is approved. We have no carryover items tonight in our regular business. The first item is to approve the minutes from our February 26th meeting. Can I have a motion, please?
I move to approve the Video Center Administrative Board minutes from February 26, 2025 as presented.
I second that.
Are there any questions or discussion on the minutes? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The motion carries. The minutes are approved. The next item on the agenda is the 25-26 ITV budget. I will entertain a motion to approve, and then I'll ask Mr. Elke to walk us through what he's provided to us.
Move to approve the 2025-2026 Video Center Budget Proposal A as presented and instruct the station manager to adopt option B if the budget if the language is changed in the intergovernmental agreement that changes the amount of funding Independence Television receives annually.
Do we have a support?
I motion to second that.
All right, very good. Mr. Elke, would you walk us through the next year's budget, please?
Yes, so typically I've put together a presentation kind of walking through the budget of what we have. This year I had to do it a little differently, as there has been some discussion between the township and the schools of changing the language between the intergovernmental agreement to change the amount that we receive in PEG fees. As I've discussed multiple times at our meetings, PEG fees are decreasing annually. You'll kind of see in the budget packet, I kind of presented a spreadsheet of where our PEG fees have been going the last number of years. Starting at 2013 when we started this intergovernmental agreement to 2024, those numbers are final. So franchise fees and PEG fees, we're just including them both. So you can kind of see we went from 187,500 in 23 down to 168,656 in 24. This has caused a drain on the fund balance on the side of the township to kind of cover the 200,000 that they send over that was agreed upon. So one thing that we discussed a while ago was just changing the language to instead saying we're going to be receiving $200,000 annually to we'll be receiving 100% of the PEG fees received by the township. So whatever that is, so we wouldn't be dipping into the fund balance on the township side to cover the deficit that we have annually. Now, these discussions haven't been finalized yet, but that's why I presented two budgets to you today. One is a requested budget of the 218. That's what we get normally from the township side. 200,000 from Independence Township, and then 18,000 from Springfield Township. This is something that we've been getting for since the beginning of this creation. And since that language has not been changed in our intergovernmental agreement, at this point, this is what I'm going to be presenting as our budget, since this is what we have in April. So that's why we have option A. The first budget you see there is the requested budget of $218,000. The reason why I have constructed option B, and you'll see that on page 3 of the budget packet or the budget presentation, these are following the projections of PEG fees that we have gotten from budget analyst Rick Yeager over at the township. And so if that language is adopted by the township and the schools and changed for the video center, which we'd have to bring to the board anyways if there is such a change. But say if it comes to us in September, right before the township's doing their budget and everything like that, we would need to kind of pivot to whatever is given to us. Now, there also could be, language of, time given and everything like that we could discuss, but I wanted to be prepared, just in case there is a big change to our budget that we could change to whatever it is based on the projections. So that's why I kind of presented the option A and option B, just to give us a little bit more flexibility. Also, I don't think that would cause us to require a special meeting if there was a large change to our budget to adopt a new budget by this board. I've notified Clarkston Community Schools of the potential change and everything like that. The township's aware of the potential change. So right now, I think it's just waiting on language from the attorneys to present the change. But as I kind of stated, I just wanted to make sure that us over at Independence Television, we're prepared if there were to be a change in 25-26 that we can kind of move with that change rather than kind of be blindsided or have a massive uptick in our budget. So that's the large issue, but the large piece of this budget is going to be the option A, option B. I'll be open to any suggestions or changes to the motion or anything like that. You'll kind of also see in the notes some of the big changes, some of the things that I want to hit on is we're proposing an 8.3% salary increase to our production coordinator, Matt Legato, this year. Matt is going to be entering year 3 or 4, I think 4, as a full-time production coordinator with us come June. And this was actually Matt Blow's idea. That he's one of the longest tenured production coordinators that we've had here at Independence Television. So we wanted to make sure that we rewarded him for all the not only hard work that he's been doing, but just to reward him for being a piece of our staff for as long as he has, and a consistent piece. The knowledge that he has, the skill set that he has would be really, really difficult to replace on such a short notice. Not that we'd ever want to replace him. He's, in my opinion, one of the reasons that we've been so successful these last few years, and we wanted to make sure that we rewarded him, and we want to reward our staffers and try and keep them as long as possible. So Matt and I discussed this, kind of worked through the numbers and everything like that to present this change in the salary. Typically, we've been doing a 3% increase of salary for our production coordinator annually, just as a cost of living raise. So this would be a little bit higher than what we have been doing. But both Matt and I felt that it was necessary to reward an employee that has been so loyal to us and has stayed with us for a long time. We hope to keep him longer. So as you can kind of see, the rest of the notes are similar to each and every year. We've changed some things in our CIP as well moving forward. Our biggest, I don't know if I have that page. Our biggest change in the CIP this year, I do, and it's printed very small, so I apologize, is this upcoming year we wanted to purchase a new TriCaster for the studio. This isn't out of necessity at this point, but it's more precautionary, I guess you could say. And to be honest, looking at how the PEG fees are going at this rate, we wanted to make sure we could move some of our larger CIP projects up further when we have the funds to take advantage of these. Now, not saying that we couldn't later. We have a very healthy fund balance, so if anything does happen or did happen to a larger piece of equipment, we would have the funds to dip in and do so. But talking to the staff and everything like that, we thought it would be a good opportunity to look at our equipment in the studio, update the TriCaster, but also we had our replay system die this year. We had another Streambox die as well this year, so there's certainly need for some updated equipment in the studio. We're piecing it together at this point, but in replay, where it's a nice feature for our sports programming, it's not a necessity. But if we could get something similar that we can train our students on and just make that a nice focal point of our productions, we'd love to. So that's what we kind of moved our CIP project up this year. You'll kind of see it's listed at $50,000. This was after a soft research of what a new TriCaster would cost to replace. Now, the TriCaster that we have in the studio, we would again put to use as we would swap that out with our current Rode unit that we have. The Rode unit's a little bit older. It's still working great. But obviously, if we had the opportunity to upgrade that with something that we already have in-house, I'd love to do that too. So we'd probably weigh that option of either replacing that road unit with the Studio TriCaster, or seeing if we get a trade-in option that would be significantly helpful in purchasing a new TriCaster. So that is what I have as far as the budget goes. I'd love to field any questions regarding the capital improvement projects, the budgets that I've presented, our PEG fees that we have. I know it's a lot of information, a lot of numbers thrown at you from a board standpoint, but I'd love to walk through them with you if you have any specific questions in regards to our budget.
So just from a timing standpoint, this is July 1st.
Correct. Yep.
This kicks in. And
Yep.
so for an agreement amendment, that would first come to our board, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Before it goes to the township board and the school board. And so that wouldn't happen before July 1st at this point, right?
No, I don't see that happening before July 1st. I could be mistaken, like it could, but it would have to move pretty quickly, I feel like.
So in that case, I mean, I feel like we have to go with the budget that exists, given what we know now.
Sure.
Being that the fiscal year starts in 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Because how would we change the budget in the middle of the year?
It would have to be, I think, if there was a new budget that was adopted, we'd have to bring it to the school board to get approved to
Right.
do so after, if there were any changes. I could be mistaken on that, in fact, but I think that's the process we'd have to go through.
Right, so I think just in terms of our procedure and our motion, I think like we're adopting option A, because that is reality tonight.
Yep.
Which will be reality the beginning of June when the school board approves the budget and whenever the township approves whatever they need to approve on that sense. And then if we go through the process of approving amendments, it's probably the capital lease that would get changed.
Yes.
More so
Yep.
than the intergovernmental agreement, although there might be language in there about that.
I think there's some
100%.
small language in there that might
Yeah.
have to be revisited, but you're correct.
So that whenever that happens, we'd have to amend if it was in the middle of the year, or if it's in effect for next year, or whatever it happens to be. I would think we cross that bridge when we get to it. It'd be really hard to do kind of an if-then in the middle of the year, just given all the interdependencies,
Right.
I would think. And I don't want to get us in trouble, right? Because the last thing we want is to miss our budget.
Yes, yeah.
Wildly in that process through no fault of our own. So I would suggest and offer a friendly amendment, if it's okay, that we change our motion to option A and put a period at that point.
Sure.
If you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Motion
I
maker
agree.
and
I'll just-
seconder.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just reread it too. So I'll just move to approve the 2025-2026 Video Center Budget Proposal A as presented.
Okay. Perfect. And that's good with you?
Yes, I
Okay.
second that.
So the friendly amendment is adopted, so we're looking at option A. And Mr. Reed, did you have a question?
Yeah, so just to summarize that, or for me, the difference between option A and option B is option A is if we were to had gotten the $218,000 versus $163,500, which we already have received, we're just not likely to get 218. And then option B shows reductions in operating costs and capital costs to compensate for the reduction in PEG fees, right? Is that right?
Kind of. So if you're looking at the 163.5, that's activity as of right now for 24-25. So the 163.5 is what we've received at this point, and that's 3/4 of PEG fees. So there's still one more quarter of PEG fees that we'll be receiving to fill out the budget at 218. So this year's fine. We'll be hitting our marks and everything like that. The requested budget of 218 for 25-26 would be just as you kind of see from 22, 23, 24, the same that we've gotten each year.
So we are going to get 218?
At this point, that is the plan. There has been, just as I said, the discussion has been to change the language, so we would be only receiving 100% of the PEG fees rather than, because right now we got in 24 168 total in PEG fees. So we've been pulling from the fund balance to get to 200,000 each year. So the fund balance on the township side is dwindling to cover that loss at this time. So the township has expressed concern that they'd like to make that change so the fund balance doesn't dwindle down to zero, and we would just operate with whatever is given to us, which is something that we eventually will have to do, you know. But the last budget meeting in November from the township side, they expressed a strong want to change that language, met with the current supervisor. They're aware of the change. The budget analyst is aware that that needs to be changed, so it's on their radar. But like I said, the ball's in their court right now from a lawyer's standpoint to draft that language and make that change if they want to. Now, granted, their budget cycle is a little different from the schools, so it's probably not even on their radar at this point, being April or May, however you'd like to look at it. So, but it has been brought to their attention, so that they are aware that that is coming. That's why I constructed this how I did, because I kind of feel like later in the year, this conversation is going to get brought back up again.
The other comment is, I'm treasurer of a couple of organizations, and their approach is not to change the budget once it's approved. In other words, even if the performance, funds don't match what was originally budget, we don't adjust the budget to match the new reality of funds. We just acknowledge at the end of the year that we didn't meet the budget, and with an explanation, but not to move the budget, in the middle of the
With
year.
public funds, there are a variety of state requirements of how close you come to your budget, which typically a municipality or school district will amend the budget close to the end of the year to try to make it as accurate as possible, with everything at that point. Because if there's large variances, there's state oversight that comes into play at that point. And so the financial aspect of this, along with the audit and everything else, is extremely legally prescribed.
Right, okay.
So we should amend if there are large variances. If we don't spend what we're gonna spend, like, that's fine. But from a fiduciary responsibility, and it'll be interesting, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, but how do you budget for 100% of PEG fees?
It's hard.
We're gonna have to guess.
You have to guess, and it's something that a lot of community media stations have been doing that are in the same boat as us. So it's something that is being done. It's just extremely difficult to try and budget out your year as far as what you can do. So it's certainly going to change how we operate from a standpoint of particularly our capital improvement projects, the larger big purchases and everything like that. Not saying that we won't continue to do them, but we're just going to have to kind of play it a little closer to year rather than going into a year and starting them in July right away because, we know we have all these funds coming in, we'll be fine. We might have to just wait a little bit closer to January or February before the financial year starts to end on the school side, that we might have to start doing it then. So small adjustments that we're kind of prepared to make as a staff, and we've been talking about it for a long time as far as what this looks like. You can only be as prepared as possible before you get there. So I'm not going to say there's not going to be hiccups whenever we do cross that bridge. And I kind of hate playing the game of what ifs and stuff like that. So,
there's one other gadget in the mix, right, of the percentage that the township collects?
The township collects 1.6% of PEG fees from the cable companies, and that's listed here on the PEG fee sheet that I presented you. You can kind of see it. 2014 is when we decreased from 2% to 1.6%. That was also discussed a while ago of going back up to 2%. That would be, I think, a smarter idea when there are open negotiations between the cable companies and the township, which a lot of communities are having right now with these companies, and they're able to renegotiate for this percentage. That's a conversation we'd have to have as far as getting back up to 2%. We've kind of toyed with the idea, but the cost of lawyers and everything like that was determined not valuable enough to regain 4% of this dwindling fund.
How long does the franchise agreement run?
I don't know. I'd have to look on the township side to see when those contracts were signed between each cable company, and that'd be Comcast and AT&T. So I don't know if I have those files in the back, but I could look into those to see when those I guess, expire or would be up for negotiation.
And you're giving us kind of calendar year peg fees.
Yes.
And,
Yep.
right, so it's kind of difficult because it's not broken out by quarters to say half of this is half of each year is in one of our budget years.
Yeah, so this is annually, so it really depends, like, it obviously fluctuates a lot as well from quarter to quarter is what you're gonna get, but that's why we kind of, Rick over at the township has been doing, I think, a pretty darn good job of trying to project that out for the next few years, is based on the decreases that we have had, just looking at that and looking at the trends of what we would be looking at the next few years. So he's been pretty aggressive in the projections, which is good. I would rather be aggressive than not and then be surprised by it later on. But as Matt always says, who sits next to me, one of these days he's going to be right, and like that day is pretty darn close. So and it's not just, like I said, this is not an independence issue, this is a statewide issue, and that's something that I'll be covering a little bit more of in our quarterly update, but it is something that's being seen not only in Michigan, but also nationally as well. So we're at a big fork in the road from a history standpoint as far as what this looks like from our funding standpoint. So that's it's a difficult pill to swallow, but also with us being as conservative as we have been the last few years, we've built up a very healthy fund balance, not only on the school side, but on the township side to get us through these dark ages. So it's something that as a staff, we've been, very cognizant of the last few years, so.
One more question. So
Yeah.
looking forward to the 26-27 budget, you're forecasting 138 versus the 218 we have in option A.
Yeah, so the 138 and the 135 are projections from Rick. I confirmed those numbers with him. These were presented at the township's budget presentation in November. So these are just projections at this point. The 163, the 138, the 135 are simply projections as far as what we'd be getting. Could it be more? Yeah, it probably could, maybe the first few years. Could it be less? Yeah, it very much could be. But that's why we're going to go with these aggressive projections. So especially from my standpoint, when you're budgeting, it always be great to budget more than less and kind of fix that need. So that's why it went very aggressive on the drop off, as you can kind of see a big loss in the next 3 years or so.
And so I think part of the conversation that we need to have like over the next year and not tonight is, what as a overseeing board here, what do we want our philosophy to be? Are we spending down fund equity? Is it for specific purposes? Because we would need to give some direction to the staff to say, hey, we want to tighten expenses first. What do we absolutely have to have? Do we want to use the capital piece as a shock absorber? What are those parameters that we'd want to go forward with, and how we want to kind of absorb these potential changes, in the future. This is a pretty simple budget as far as budgets go. There are things we could certainly say, hey, we're not going to do this, or we need to do without. There are some things on here that to exist, we have to do. We have to have certain staff pieces and things that make the whole system work. So those are conversations I think we could have over the next year. Probably early 26, I would think would be a good time, at our meeting before we get into the budget, our February meeting next year. I think makes a great sense to, maybe we'll plan some extra time and dive into that a little more. Any other questions on the budget, looking at option A here for adoption this year? Okay. Thanks for all your work on this. I know it's really fun crunching numbers in the world of
Yes.
what if, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's better to
super
be
fun.
prepared than flat-footed, so thanks for your efforts there. If there are no other questions, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The budget carries and is adopted. And we come to item 3, our quarterly production update, the highlight of our meeting. Whenever you're ready.
Sure, thank you very much. Board, I appreciate this time. Last meeting, as I kind of said, I got to present with you an annual presentation for Independence Television's production for 2024. Really enjoyed doing that. We did it at the Township Board meeting in April as well, as kind of just recap for the trustees and in a way to reintroduce ourselves, or at least be front of mind for the trustees, and kind of like I said with the board doing these presentations, not everybody gets to see all the fun stuff that I see from the day-to-day stuff, so I like to bring that to the attention of everyone. Matt Blow, actually, who is not here tonight, is going to be presenting the same presentation, not this same one, but annual review to the school district board come May, so something to look out for moving forward. But thank you very much for your time. This is a quarterly report. This is going to cover the beginning of 2025 so far is what we've had. So from the cable side, I'm going to start off with the outages that we've had. We've had a lot of outages that have caused a lot of problems in our back room. I know I talked to you about the T1 lines and replacing those, and we've done so, and we had everything set to transition over, but then we had that encoder that I chose not to buy because of cost. It died due to a lightning or storm, essentially, and it got fried. So we worked with our IT director over at the township, David Canton, who came over to try to reboot the system. It was a really old Windows that it's operating on, so it took a long time to find an operating disk that he could, convert to a USB to plug in and try to reboot it that way. It did not work, so we tried a few different things, but unfortunately the community channel on AT&T has been down for a little bit of time because the encoder is dead. So we did shift some funds around for our last purchase of this calendar year to buy that new encoder. So when that new encoder, it was purchased, I did get notice that from our supplier that he did receive it, but he received it damaged, so we have to wait for a new one now. So once that is received, he's going to come over, and that whole project will be done no later than July once everything's done. So as I talked about earlier, we've had a lot of equipment kind of reach its life the last couple of months. So it's been a little bit of a challenge to kind of work around some of the stuff. As we've talked about, our back room's not completely updated, so trying to find things that fit perfectly with how we have everything constructed can be somewhat difficult, but Great Lakes Media, who we've worked with for a long time, John Stilton, has done a really good job of working with us and providing some appropriate solutions for our studio, and he works with a lot of different PEG and community media stations, so it's really nice to work with someone like that. So just moving along on that at this time. From the live standpoint, we, as I've talked about, we had our streaming computer in the studio and replay, not work anymore. So we've swapped over to a laptop system to take from our stream box. That's really cut down a lot of, we've been having a lot of buffering issues in our studio for our live events. We had them here at the district offices, back at the studio, so we were kind of really baffled as far as what was going on. So it took a long time for us to kind of find a solution, but now that we've found a solution and upgraded some things, we're kind of back to normal on our live standpoint and broadcasting live. So as they always say, a live production doesn't come without gremlins, and we had some for a while, but I think we're on the right track now. Online, Hannah Gray has officially finished the redesign of IndependenceTelevision.com. It's looking really nice if you get a chance to check it out. We've had a lot of uptick on our website as well because of the launch of the summer camp registration. It says in April we had 19 campers. We're at 20 right now, which is really great. So that's an increase of 5 campers that we had last year, and that was open maybe a week before we hit capacity. So we really didn't have to do any advertising on this. A lot of returning campers from 2 years ago, last year, and new ones as well. So, and we're skewing at a higher age this year, so probably 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old kids that'll be coming to camp. And there's some younger ones as well, which we'll have plenty to kind of work with, but our website has kind of seen a uptick of audience with the recent registration of summer camp. So I'll go into our production update for the year so far. From the public side, we got to broadcast out live the Clarkston Area Youth Assistant Award Ceremony on the 24th. and production coordinator Matt Legato created a 3-part series celebrating the 50 years of SCAMP, which is featured on their website right now and our YouTube page as well. The series was released in sections on Mondays from February to March and culminated with the SCAMP director coming in as a guest for one of our public shows at Connecting Clarkston, where they actually talked about the video series and everything like that. So it was kind of a really nice, big project that that Matt had been working on since I believe last July, and that was just strictly filming B-roll and stuff like that, doing interviews in the studio and making sure everything was ready to release January 1 for their 50th year anniversary. As you can see at the bottom as well, we also had 3 public shows that came in during spring break, and we had 3 new episodes of Conversations with Bill, Connecting Clarkston, and goodness me, Inside Independence. Sorry about that. You can see in the right corner some other events that we did too. The North Oakland Concert Band performance. That was a team up that we did with Orion Neighborhood Television out in Lake Orion. This band that they typically cover and record was coming and perform at Clarkston at the high school. So they asked if we would record it, they would edit it, and then share the program with us. So we were able to kind of team up for this production. Jeannie and Ben were the ones that did the recording. We sent off the footage. The Orion team edited it together and sent us back a program that we get to play on our channels and everything like that. So a good community media team up that we got to do earlier in the year. Some other events that we got to do as well. I'll kind of touch on one that we did today is we're at the Meyer Independence Market grand opening. We put together a highlight reel that will be premiering at 6, so just like 2 minutes ago. And then also a recording of the full ceremony that took place. That was a team up between Matt and I that we kind of covered the event in a unique way, but it turned out really well. So just a lot of different public events that we've gotten to do to start the year. I'll take this, the education side, since Matt's not with us, because he's currently broadcasting out an educational program that started 2 minutes ago. I hope he's doing good. But they're doing the senior awards tonight with the PM TV production class. As you can kind of see here, they've done 2 basketball games, 1 soccer game, 2 lacrosse games. They also ran all the equipment for the State of the Community event at the high school in March, which was, they did a fantastic job. And then also the Youth Assistance Awards last week. So they've been extremely busy with a lot of live events and putting a lot of programs together. From the class side, we were kind of talking about it. It seemed like we did more this spring season than we have in years past. So that's kind of great to see from our students and everything. But they're starting to ramp up and prepare for the end of the year, as we've got graduations coming up and everything like that. Seniors' last days is May 15th, so in like 2 weeks, I want to say. So they're really kind of finishing their last few projects in their showcase film. They're all working together, I believe, on one. So you can kind of see some of the other events too: College 101 night, enrollment interviews, career and technical education, teacher interviews, military wall dedication ceremony, and then elementary school history program. And as I said further, Matt's not here with us tonight, but the May 15th school district meeting, he will be there presenting. Our students from the PM TV production class will actually be running the equipment as like a pseudo presentation on the media program while he does his presentation. And Matt is also going to be receiving tenure from the district that same night, so a really big night for us here at PMT or Independence Television to celebrate Matt and everything that he's been able to do and accomplish. So if you're available and want to join his parents in the front row, come celebrate Matt at the school district meeting on May 15th. So it's Monday at 7 o'clock.
I'll be there.
Thanks. From the government side, as I kind of stated before, we had help with the PMTV production class, and we did the State of the Community ceremony in March. We created 3 videos that were played during that presentation for Clarkston Community Schools, the City of the Village of Clarkston, and Independence Township. We're currently finishing the latest episode of the township featuring DPW that actually got sent off for review today. So hopefully that'll be publishing in the next week or so if everything goes well, which is great. And as you can kind of see down there, we're also going to be partnering up with them more additionally this year to help create some PSAs for their wellhead protection grant program that they received. And Independence Television will be given the funds associated with video production with this grant to purchase some new equipment and everything like that. So don't want to count our chickens before they hatch, but it'll be a fun program to do with DPW to create some PSAs, but also, get some funds associated with it too. So a nice program that we get to partner up with them. As you can kind of see, some additional projects that we've done on the government side, a lot with parks as always. We did a public engagement session for their Clintonwood Park expansion. Senior Center is proving to be a big hit for us as far as programming goes. They do a lot of great programming and presentations. Jeannie McElwain, our production assistant, has been kind of the lead on these productions of going there, just recording these presentations. As I kind of said at our last meeting, the Stroh's Brewery one that she did was very well attended, but it was so well attended that people weren't able to watch it. So when they found out it was recorded, they had a watch party of her video at the Senior Center, of the presentation that was at the Senior Center. So it's kind of neat to kind of see these programs find a fun audience and a good life, and she puts a lot of work into them. So kudos for her for providing this service to the community in this way. We also were able to help out on the township side by providing updated employee headshots that were published across the township's website. So that was a 4-day process. We were out of the township, set up a little studio in the back of the boardroom office, and just took some nice photos, set up some nice music, had a good time. So it was really good. From the social media standpoint, with the help of Independence Township Parks, Recs, and Seniors, we posted a poll for our Facebook, on Facebook, asking people to vote for our dive-in movie that's at the end of our summer camp. So I believe the leader right now is Moana 2. So if you're a big fan of Moana 2 at the beach, check us out for the end of camp. I think that's going to be the choice. We're also going to be doing a movie night with the school in the next few weeks for the seniors that'll be set up on the football field as well. So we get to kind of utilize our movie setup a little bit more. As you can kind of see from the statistics as far as Facebook and Instagram goes, we've had some higher viewed posts over the last little bit. A lot of, as I said before, videos are great and everything like that, but Hannah's done a great job of utilizing behind the scenes photos and photos of events to promote the videos on YouTube and stuff like that. So we've been trying to do that a little bit more with on Facebook to promote our longer videos that you're not going to post the full thing of on Facebook. Same with Instagram. We've been doing a little bit more collaborative reels with different organizations just to reach a different audience that we might not typically see through our traditional social pages. And on the YouTube side, you can see we gained 101 subscribers on ITV's page. That was from January till April. And Michigan Moment, again, is proving to be one of the higher viewed programs, especially on Independence Television's YouTube page, having 8 of the top 10 videos viewed so far this year. It's a big one for commenters as well. They have found like this weird little audience that loves these videos, but it's a program that has grown immensely, and that's what all credit goes to Matt Legato, who puts that together each month. With our wonderful host, Michael Rosenkrantz, who is graduating May 9th from CMU. So congrats to Michael as he continues his career in broadcasting. So I know this was kind of quick, but this is what we got coming up next. We have Women in Business on May 7th. Matt and I will be going there to record that ceremony. We have the Clarkston Community Awards ceremony on May 14th. We've been working on putting together all of the videos for this. We're going to live stream the ceremony like we typically do, so that'll be a great event to kind of kick off our busy season when it comes to live broadcasting. And then, as I said before, we've got graduation season right around the corner with Renaissance on 29th, and then Clarkston June 2nd, the following Monday. So that is, we're going to be quite busy in the next few weeks as far as how everything's going with live production. So with that, I'm happy to field any questions from a production standpoint from January until now.
Is that all you've done?
That's all, yeah.
I don't know how every time you do one of these updates for us, there seems like you're doing more. And, we have the same staff, and I know everybody's experienced and working together, and we have students that help us, but it's amazing how much that you cover, and I think, the community kind of takes it for granted at this point that these things are live streamed and accessible, and you can watch it after the fact, and I think that's a great thing for our community.
And I'm trying to find more work for him, too.
What's that?
I said, I'm trying to find more work for you, too.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know that every time I talk to him, I'm like, I got an idea.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's we try to reevaluate everything that we do each year as far as event coverage goes and everything, and the standard ones that we have, but also just trying, to find new things that we can do with some of these things. And maybe, the community's taking notice a little bit because we've been contacted a lot for a lot of different events and everything, which is great. And we have the staff right now to accommodate a lot of these requests. And we have a very hungry part-time staff that really wants to get out there and do a lot of things. So we've been able to kind of do, something like the Clarkston River Dog tournament, which we haven't done before. We got to do it this weekend. And the events at the senior center, it's great that we have Jeannie, a part-timer, who is available in the afternoons on weekdays to do these events. The full-time staff sometimes is, but not always. So it's great that we have this wonderful flexibility from staff to cover a lot of weekend stuff, but also the weekday, midday stuff that might get lost otherwise. So happy that the staff is able to kind of accommodate a lot of these requests and wants to do them. That's the big thing. They want to go out and go to these events and do these videos and kind of make them their own a little bit. That you can't teach, that you can't find. Desire, the want to. And we have it right now. So we're just going to ride this wave as long as we can.
Very good. Thank you for the update and all the efforts. We appreciate it on behalf of the community. Public comment is the next item on our agenda. Do we have any members of the public who would like to address the board? Seeing no members of the public, we move on to board member comments. Any board member comments? Seeing none of those, the last item on our agenda is adjournment. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
I second that.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.